First of all, you filthy, filthy degenerates, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. Then, remember that everyone is entitled to due process. The Fifth and Sixth Amendment still apply. So no one is guilty until they are proven guilty in a court of law, and allegations are just that. They are allegations. They are not statements of fact, necessarily. This is Jai Nitz. If that is his birth name, I'll be very, very surprised. Let's take a gander at what looks like a soy boy with an unfortunate beard and ensemble. Red jacket. That look might work if you look like Brad Pitt. If you do not look like Brad Pitt and you look like a mayonnaise wrapped in saran wrap, then these outfit choices are unfortunate. Anyway, let's take a look. If you go to start page and you enter in his name, Jai Nitz, the Kansas City Con comes up first. It is the Lawrence comic book writer banned from KU, accused in 4 sexual things, but no arrest. Certain words you cannot say on YouTube. She was looking for a mentor. Instead, she found Jai Nitz. Oh, okay. Hannah Strader, 24, is a junior at the University of Kansas when comic book writer Jai Nitz, 43, allegedly forcibly kissed her in 2017. She was one of 3 women who have issued reports to the Lawrence Police Department in the past year. She can't forget the sound of Across the Universe by the Beatles playing over the speakers, the way his foot brushed against her thighs as he asked her, "How often do you enjoy yourself?" If this dude asked me how often I enjoyed myself, I'd look at him like, are you freaking out of your mind? What is wrong with you? You degenerate. You filthy, filthy degenerate. It felt wrong to Hannah. No doubt it felt wrong. Then a junior. Well, okay. Keep in mind, junior, what is she? That's 20. So how old is she? 23 or something? 24. That's an old junior. But, 24 is a full-time. Yeah, that's an adult. You're an adult by 24. So if something feels uncomfortable to you, you got to vote with your feet. She agreed to meet with Jai Nitz, a 43-year-old comic book writer who created a character in hit movie Suicide Squad, because she hoped he would be her mentor. Okay, well, framing that, you have to be honest. Did you ask to meet with him, or did he ask to meet with you? You're saying you agreed to meet him, and that sounds kind of neutral. It also sounds like he asked you, but it may be if you're asking him to be your mentor, then you might have asked him. So at least be honest. You don't need to shade the argument untruthfully. After the meeting, she said, Nitz trapped her against her car and forcibly kissed her. This is why everyone should carry pepper spray. Someone forcibly kisses you, push them away, say no, and if they approach you again, then mace them or pepper spray them. Those chemical agents are remarkably effective. Stradler's account is one of several that have emerged in the past year accusing Nitz of sexual violence. A Kansas City woman told police Nitz battered her in a parking lot. A woman in Lawrence said Nitz routinely coerced her into sex. Okay, the word I can't say on YouTube is rap. We'll call it a sexual battery. Okay, that called police immediately. But someone coerced you routinely into sex? How does that happen? There has to be a force or threat of force for someone to do that. Nitz spent a lot of time on the KU campus in recent years. He was hired to lecture on creative writing, graphic novels, and returned by the invitation of professors, campus organizations, according to university documents. But despite a pattern of predatory behavior towards female students, again, facts not on evidence, dating back to 2014, including her complaint in 2017, the university did not ban Nitz from campus until this year. Well, yes, if it's a public university, they have to apply due process also. They are agents of the state, and your constitutional rights apply in public universities. And in some issues, some constitutional rights apply in private universities, if they have enough, well, that's another story. In all, 4 women have filed police reports this year. Okay. They should have filed police reports immediately when it happens. if someone commits a sexual battery to you and you do not file a police report immediately, then it makes it more likely that that person will go on to commit future sexual batteries and create more victims. You have to stop them right then and there in the act. Carry pepper spray, scratch them, hurt them, leave marks, make an issue out of it. If you hurt them and they might hurt you, they might leave marks on you. However, they leave marks on you and you leave marks on them, it is much more likely the police will see the marks, the bleeding, the torn fingernails, and come to the reasonable conclusion that a battery has occurred. Don't create more victims. Stand up for future potential victims. Okay, so 4 women filed police reports years after the fact. That makes it extremely difficult. The Star spoke with 3 of them and 1 agreed to be named. The Star generally is not. Okay, good for you. Pat yourself on the back so hard you break your arm. He hasn't been arrested or charged because there's such a thing as timeliness in legal proceedings. Stadler and the 2 women said police let them down, putting the burden on them to solve their own assaults. Yeah, that sucks. The police can be every bit as lazy and incompetent as anyone else, unfortunately. But thank God we are able to hold them accountable. It's harmful to everyone to be told that the responsibility for your own protection is up to you. Well, it is up to you. You need to carry pepper spray and mace. When you go to the parking lot, you need to have a can of pepper spray in your hand with your thumb on the trigger. Not just for people, but there are off-leash dogs. In my area, there are coyotes and mountain lions, and hell, there are bears. You have to, yes, you're responsible for your own protection. That is perfectly reasonable. And a 100-pound woman is the equal of a 100-pound man after she pepper sprays him. Or conceal carry if that's legal in your state and you can get a permit. But a lot of people are very, very reluctant to pull out the metal device that Colt said makes people equal. But they are much, much more likely to use mace or pepper spray. Because it usually is not permanent. It puts the victim through a lot more trauma, and I don't think that's fair. Yeah, police departments have a lot to learn about how they handle battery cases. Lawrence police and law enforcement officials in Kansas City said they did the best they could with the information they had. Fair enough. You came to them years after the event. It's a common problem. Professor of psychology researches violence. The burden of proof in a criminal case is high. Yes, it's higher than the civil case. Prosecutors say winning convictions at trial. Yes, that's why you have to leave marks and pepper spray. And stand up for yourself. I mean, I don't understand how someone can forcibly coerce you into multiple sexual escapades. That sounds like nonsense. You're an adult, act like an adult. After allegations against Nitz surfaced online in April, he withdrew from public life and his comic book series was canceled. Why? He spoke to comic book industry outlet Bleeding Cool. There are cancer. This is a very difficult time for me and my family. Oh, poor baby. Poor degenerate filth. I apologize for my past behaviors. Oh, that'll make everything better. And any pain they caused. I am stepping away from comics and public life. I'm seeking counseling and trying to live a better life for my loved ones. He didn't respond to requests for comment. Okay. Stadler looked up the guest names. Jai Nitz online. He was a successful comic book writer and an advocate for Latin American representation in media. One of the comic book characters, El Diablo, would make an appearance in Suicide Squad. The film earned over $700 million at the box office. Not a very good film. Opportunity for new writing mentor. She says she followed Nitz on Twitter and they began talking casually online. Why do you want him to be a mentor? Just write. I don't understand the writing mentor thing. If you know how to write, write. Nothing can stop you. He messaged her with an invitation. Okay, let's meet for a drink. So he messaged her, allegedly. A few days later, they met at Zen Zero restaurant. She sat at the bar behind her, basketball team. Okay. He was 15 minutes late, as she remembered. She had finished her first drink. So she ordered a drink without him. A little bit odd. To apologize, Nitz bought her a second. Okay, you're 24. Nobody's forcing you to drink. Don't make it sound like they are. That's when he really started working on me. It was scary. You're 24. Come on. He kept telling her she was beautiful. He asked her questions about her sex life, like whether she was... Okay, so obviously, as soon as he makes the first comment, you're beautiful, your sex life, you're asking about virginity, You know he is very sexually interested in you. You know it's no longer a mentor relationship. If you're not interested in him, you got to vote with your feet. You got to get up and walk out, because you're not going to be able to transition his sexual interest into a professional relationship. He's not into that. You know he's not into that. You can't change it. Just if you're into it, then go for it. But if you're not into it, you have to say, you know what? I just wanted to talk about business. I don't think this is going to work out, but it's been nice meeting you. I have to go. And you walk to your car. Okay. As they talked, you would have been pretty young. I would have been 3 years old. Nitz didn't seem bothered by their age difference, because she's 24 and he's 43. That's not a big deal. As long as you're over 18, you're an adult. I mean, 24 is you've been an adult for 10 years. You've been a biological woman for 10 years. You're not a child. It's just kind of weird how people, they say, oh, women are equal to men and they need to be empowered and strong. Well, then that means they have to be equal. You can't treat them like babies. It's almost closing time. He invited her to a burger shop across the street. She wanted to go home, she said. She felt indebted because Nitz paid their tab for one drink. I don't know what kind of bar you're in. If you're in a city, a drink might cost $10, $20. But if you're in a town, a drink is $5 to $7, depending on what kind of bar you're in. You're not indebted to someone because they bought you one drink. You're not indebted to someone for any meal or anything. I mean, if you're not, none of this makes sense. You can also pay for your own drink. Heaven forbid you pay for your own drink, and you can pay for his. If you're asking him to mentor you, you should probably be paying for his drinks. Okay, they went to a burger place. I guess they had a burger. Fascinating story. They were secluded. Okay, even the way they write this is kind of shading this thing. And I'm not defending him, but I am affording him due process. Nitz kept on persuading her to order more beers. Okay, you're an adult, for God's sakes. You're 24. If someone, and this is should set off warning bells. Listen, this is not, walk out the door, vote with your feet, call a cab. You know what? I got to call an Uber. This is what, 2017? Yeah, I'm gonna call a Lyft or an Uber. I'm too drunk to drive. If someone's persuading you to keep drinking beer, you say no, thank you. I'm a 120-pound woman. I can't drink like a man. I'm 120 pounds. You're a big fat ass. You're 240 pounds. Felt she ordered far beyond her limit. Didn't say no. Nitz asked her, how often do you enjoy yourself? Okay, so now you know, I mean, the relationship, he's clearly interested in you sexually. You're not going to be able to recover from this and transition into a business relationship. Either go with it or dip. Why? I don't know. He sounds like a total weirdo. And he has no idea. I mean, all the things he's doing do not get women to drop their panties. Maybe he was better looking in 2017, but I kind of doubt it. He looks like a potato. He told her he would think of her that night when he enjoyed himself. Oh my God. Oh, I'm sure she's just going to take her panties off at the table, hand them to him, and say, please, will you use these to enjoy yourself? Please, you've convinced me. You have, be still my beating heart. I am all aflutter with your charming lingo. Please part me like the Red Sea right here at the table. What a sexy 240-pound potato you are. When he left to go to the bathroom after drinking a gallon of beer, she thought about sneaking away. Yes, dip, walk out, stand up, walk out. She was uncomfortable with 43-year-old men asking about her sex life. That's not, listen, the 20-year age difference is not a big deal, 19-year age difference. 24-year-old women, you've been a woman for 10 years. Come on, get over yourself. They both sound like idiots here. She was taught to be, she was taught to be polite, so she didn't get up? None of it, because this is garbage. You got to grow a spine. When he returned from the bathroom, he invited her to a strip club. She said no. Okay, obviously, he's trying to get you in bed. Obviously. He kept prodding her. He began to kiss her, in the restaurant? She told him, no, this is what I came for. Well, yeah, you came and you had 2 drinks at a bar, and then you went to a burger shop and you were drinking beers to the point where you said you felt you had too much. Why are you doing this? You had to know what this was. No, she didn't know, but you guys had a miscommunication. She walked her to a car. He asked her to kiss him. Well, you don't ask somebody to kiss them. You just give them a peck on the cheek. If this guy was any good at reading body language, he wouldn't even try to do that. He would just say, okay, I'm sorry this didn't work out. I guess we're on different pages. But it was nice meeting you. Let's go our separate ways in peace. But this guy has a screw loose. She refused to kiss him. He pushed for a hug instead. She accepted out of fear. Yeah, I'm not really... You're in a public parking lot? I mean, the guy's sexually forward. He wants to have sex with you because you're adult. He's adult. Where's the fear coming from? I mean, there has to be a threat of force or an implication of force. If you said something to threaten her, that's one thing, but it doesn't... I mean, she would have made those allegations earlier in the statement. Backed her up against the car. You can kiss me if you want. She tried to kiss his neck to appease him? No, all this is... You're making mistakes. Do not kiss someone against your will. No, stop this. Sometimes victims who have been prior victimized, they fall into a pattern of behavior, and victimizers can pick up, they're like predators who they can pick up on prey who are damaged. That's why if you are a victim of any kind of a battery of this type, you need to get therapy and learn how to not put out those victim vibes. I'm not victim blaming. I know the SJWs will say, how dare you victim blame? How dare you suggest a victim get therapy to help them through the trauma? Yes, you need to get therapy to help you through the trauma. The SJWs will say stuff like, you need to teach men and boys not to commit these batteries. Well, the people who are sociopaths, you cannot teach them to not commit these batteries because they're mentally ill. They're sociopaths. They're violent. They have borderline personality disorder. They have something wrong with them. You can't... It's like saying, oh, you need to teach people not to have depression. Well, if you're depressed, you probably need medication, therapy, group therapy, whatever. We're going to teach you not to be depressed or have anxiety. Well, you can get onto medication and therapy, and then you might start some cognitive behavioral approaches, breathing and finding whatever, I don't know, whatever they do. Meditation, that kind of stuff. But no, you cannot teach people to not commit batteries. They're criminal acts. They know they're criminal acts because they're nuts. The thing you can do is to teach potential victims to stand up for themselves, very, very clearly and loudly express your displeasure by saying no, pushing someone away, and having your pepper spray at the ready. If someone sees you pull out pepper spray, they absolutely know that this is going south. And if someone approaches you, you have to use it. Okay, she got in the car. He called out her name. She turned reflexively in her seat. Why? Why are you doing this? Why would you turn reflexively? You know he's trying to kiss you. Get in the car. Why aren't the windows are up when you get in the car, right? You get in the car, the car's locked, the windows are up. You get in the car, you close the door, the windows are still up, and you lock the doors. So why? This means you rolled down the window. Why? He was leaning over and he forcibly kissed her. Okay, so this is this guy's a scumbag, allegedly. If he did these things, then he is a scumbag. But you're also... Don't victim blame. You did several things wrong. Okay. All these are allegations because no one was there. The only people who really know what happened that night are these two people. She shut the door. Okay, the door was open. Okay, he started tapping at her window, trying to get it to roll down. She put the car in reverse and drove away. She sped to a friend's house a few blocks away. She started crying. She drove to her parents' house because she was too afraid to be alone that night. She reported the incident to her journalism professor. He was obligated to report it to the Title IX, which investigated. Okay, that night you should have called the police. Well, I mean, no, let me take that back. you say he forcibly kissed you, so that is a battery. It's a harmful and offensive offensive touching. It's of a sexual nature, so it's a sexual battery. But if I'm not saying you assume the risk, and yes, I mean, you have to tell people no. He wanted to kiss her. She said no, and then he says, "You can kiss me," and then she kissed him on the neck. No, that means you're engaging in a consensual relationship. You're not. You can withhold consent anytime you want, but you're telling him that the kiss is acceptable to you. No, if you're not interested in kissing someone, don't kiss someone. Okay, so he was banned from the School of Journalism. Well, I don't know if they did an investigation because even under Title IX, you're still afforded due process. The Constitution applies to everyone at public schools. Okay, so we showed up on campus still because you've got to have a legal proceeding to, stop someone's freedom of association and assembly. Confirmed Nitz was banned from journalism school 2017. At the time, I felt I didn't have enough to go to the police. Nothing happened besides the forced kiss and forced groping. Yeah, forced kiss. I mean, I've been forced kissed too. It's not someone sneaks up on you and kisses you. Okay, you just you push them away and say no, thank you. No, I'm not into that. And that's it. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't call the police every time someone has done something like that. It's just you say no thank you and you laugh it off, and sometimes you remain friends afterwards. It's just someone got their signals mixed. It's not. That's why you have to be very, very clear with people. I could be a predator. Couldn't get away from the Planet Comic-Con ads. They reminded her Nitz was regularly invited to the event. 2 years after her encounter with him, after she left Lawrence to start a new job in Kansas City, drinking a cup of coffee, scrolling through Instagram, she saw another ad. There he was again. Yeah, it was enough. She was angry. She said she wanted people to know what he did. But you're talking 2 years after he kissed you. That's not much. I mean, that's not much to go on. She decided to share her story through her campus and online magazine she worked for while she was a student. Okay, published in 2019. Reaction was instant. Women started to reach out. Okay, you did this 2 years after the fact. You should have done it immediately. Put people on notice that if you go out with this guy, he's going to be very, very aggressive. Okay, so Kansas City woman read the article. She didn't recognize the name, so she searched Jai Nitz on Google. She saw his face. That's him. The memory started coming back. It was meant to be a simple date. Okay, this guy must be a charming, charming son of a bitch because he looks like he lives under a bridge. He is literally fat and ugly with a neck beard. He must have some magic kitty eating skills or something to getting these women to go out with him. I don't know. He's got to be charming. Told her his name was Jay. He was an hour late. Okay. Someone's an hour late on a date. Well, you should never know that someone's an hour late because if someone is, 15 minutes late, you dip. You get up and you get out. You don't wait an hour for anyone. You leave and you reschedule. If you're really interested, you leave and you reschedule because here's the thing. It puts you on an unequal footing. It says that you're desperate, you're more interested in them. And it doesn't matter, even if you are desperate, even if you are interested in them, waiting for them, it sets up a power struggle in the relationship and you've already lost. She had a drink while she waited. She planned to stop when he arrived. Okay, she had to drive home. He bought her a second drink to apologize. Well, you just say no thank you or you don't drink it. You're not a child, all right? She started to think he was odd. He didn't ask her name. Well, he probably already knows your name because you met online. She wrote an article about the difference between predator and prey in the animal kingdom, how antelopes jump over water holes, even though no lions are on the other side. I could be a predator and you don't even know it, he said. You just showed up. Okay, that's when you, again, reach for your mace and back away. He's nuts. She wanted to be polite. Okay, stop. Yes, be very, very polite until it's time to stop being polite. When he's talking about predators and prey, okay, that's very, very interesting. And then he says, I could be a predator? That's when your alarm bells, that's when your internal needle goes from green to orange to red, and you have to leave. No, that's when politeness stops, and self-defense and protection and love for yourself kicks in. Figured she would stay longer, at least to give him a fair chance. You gave him the fair chance. He screwed it up. That's it. First impressions, you only get one chance to make a first impression. He blew it. And what he's learning about you is that him talking in a threatening manner and him making you wait an hour is acceptable to you. You understand what I'm saying? She fumbled through her brain for an excuse to get out of there. Okay, this is something that women do, and they need to stop this kind of stuff, like getting excuses. You say, you know what? We're rubbing each other. You're rubbing me the wrong way. I got to go. Let him tell him very, very clearly right off the bat, you are as dry as a Sahara, and there's nothing. I mean, he is just not doing it to you. He's not doing it for you. You're not excited by him. He is just not what you thought he is. Let him know clearly, so it's time for you to leave. That way, there's none of that. What Jim Carrey, so you're saying there's a chance. No, there's no chance. I am not into you. I need to go let my dogs out. I should probably go. Now you say, hey, you know what? I got to let the dogs out. Been nice meeting you. Got to go. He got up to pay for drinks. She tried sneaking out of the bar. She reached the door. He grabbed her by the neck. Where are you going? We're not done. We've got more to talk about. Is this in a public bar? You start asking for help. Someone grabs you by the neck. Again, reach for your pepper spray and mace. Kick him in the nuts. Hit him in the nose. I know you don't want to do any of those things. Okay, fine. You're in a public bar. Ask for help. Start asking for help. She couldn't fathom what was happening as a man forced her into the passenger seat of his car parked only a few paces away, she said. He got in the driver's seat, started driving. Okay, so now this sounds like a kidnapping. But you have to start screaming and shouting. He forced her into the passenger seat. You got to get out and run for your life. You're being kidnapped. This is if these things happen, if they happen, your life is in danger. Call 911 and run for your life. He got in the driver's seat, started driving to an empty business parking lot, unfamiliar area. His hand still gripped her neck. Well, when he walked around to the driver's seat, he wasn't gripping your neck. And cars don't have child locks in the front seats. Parks the car, forced her to give him oral. Her face was pressed against the steering wheel. Yeah, depending on what kind of car he has, it's probably uncomfortable. When he was done, he passed her a wipe. As she cleaned the area around her mouth, she knows part of the front tooth, her front tooth was missing from being held against the steering wheel, had chipped it. She tried to stop crying to compose herself. She didn't want him to gain any enjoyment from seeing her tears. The man told her, oh, you're not crying. You clearly like that, as she remembered. She cried again. Since he let go of her head, she got ready to open the door to leave. He grabbed her by the neck and told her to get in the back. She tried again to open the door, but he slapped her and told her to get in the back seat again. He wouldn't let her leave. She assessed her options. He was bigger and stronger than her. She didn't know where she was. There wasn't anyone around. Her best option, she thought, was to do as he said. No, fight. Fight back. Always fight back. Always fight. Leave marks. Make damage. Bloody his nose. Take his eyeball. Scratch his face. You've got to leave marks that the police can see. She crawled through the middle of the car to the back. She hoped someone would drive by and see what was happening. No one did. He got out of the driver's seat and came to the back. Hand returned to the back of her neck, and he pushed her into the cushions of the back seat. She kept trying to tell him she couldn't breathe. He told her that's the point. He battered her in the front and in the back. She started thinking she wasn't going to make it out of the car alive. She said she couldn't process what was happening. When he was done, he pulled her out of the vehicle by her hair. Said something to her she can't remember. He tried to push her down. She said he drove off. She started looking for a familiar buildings to find her way back to the car. Days later, the woman confided her story. Okay, if you are the victim of a battery of that nature, you need to go to the police department immediately because they have kits to gather evidence. The evidence doesn't last. He left evidence in you. You need a medical report, and you need to have that evidence. I know it's a horrible, traumatic situation, but your motive should be, one, revenge against this degenerate. And 2, prevention of him doing it to someone else. You have to protect potential future victims. I know it sucks. People just want to forget about it. But a predator like this is just going to continue on. She went to the sheriff's office. She felt like she was being accused when she gave her statement. She said she recorded in medical records. And she ultimately decided not to continue filing the report. She became suicidal. She quit a job. She worked for a few years. She checked into a psychiatric hospital. Okay, so I think something... I mean, that's a horrible trauma, but something else is going on, possibly. When she was admitted, the doctors found bruises across her chest, according to medical records. Wait, how much time has gone by? I don't understand. Days later, she went to the police, and she checked into a psychiatric hospital. Are we talking like that day? And when she was admitted, doctors found bruises across her chest? Are you saying he caused... I don't understand. Did he cause the bruises? Why would you wait days later? She spent months looking online trying to find out who the man was who did it to her. Then why didn't you complete the police report? He told her that night he had some affiliation with the University of Kansas. His name was Jay. He loved comic books. So you met a guy. Okay, you meet anyone, guy or girl, you got to do a little research. I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying you are ultimately responsible. You are your own best attorney. Think of it that way. You have your own best interests at heart. No one cares about you as much as you care about you. Okay, so she went looking for him. She saw this other girl's story. Great. Except it's kind of late. She decided to take action. Great. A woman came forward to police about Nitz early this year to seek justice, but they were quickly disappointed by a system they felt hardly heard them. Well, you had the opportunity earlier on, and you didn't file the police report. She filed the report after seeing her story. She didn't hear back for months. Stradler reported the 27 incident on 2019. That's 2 years too late. Within weeks, 2 other women went to Laura's. Okay, well, this means if you had reported it right at the beginning, these other 3 women or more probably would not have been injured. Because once you're in the police system, once you have one report of a battery against you, okay, well, due process applies. You're not guilty. You're not innocent. We just don't. I mean, you're presumed innocent. But then we get the second report. People are going to be on notice about you. Word gets around. One woman told police about Nitz's repeated aggressive behavior while they were dating. She reported how, okay, so you guys had a consensual relationship, you're dating. She reported how Nitz constantly showed up to her workplace. Once when customers weren't around, he grabbed her hands and forced it into his pants, made her give him a hand job. Okay, if this sounds like you guys have a sexual relationship or he's your boyfriend or something, you need to say no thank you and break up with him. Another day, Nitz would not allow her to leave her office until she had anal sex with him, she said. You tell him no, or I'm going to call the police, and then you call the police. Whenever they were in a vehicle together, Nitz would drive to secluded area, grab her by the neck, and force her to give him oral sex. Then why did you go with him consensually? Stop. You're an adult. Later, she moved away and cut ties. Okay, so it sounds like you've had sex with him dozens of times, consensually. She hasn't talked to Nitz in years, she said. With the distance, she came to realize how many times he violated her trust and space. You're not a child. You're an adult. Act like an adult. Another woman reported to police Nitz had non-consensual sexual relations with her. Okay. Stadler asked them to pursue the investigation. Officer told her they couldn't guarantee charges. Yeah, because you gotta go timely. You must do things in a timely manner. Okay, she contacted police 3 times, multiple times. Okay. It sounds like the police aren't taking it seriously, but again, there's probably not much they can do. You have their word against yours. And one woman dated him repeatedly, and she alleges he has a history of being aggressive, but it was consensual. I mean, someone can commit a battery against you once, but you would never voluntarily be with them again. It doesn't... If you consent to a second date, it doesn't make sense. Okay, they had difficulty finding him. The women tracked him down using social media. Yeah, okay. If you're so fired up now, you're fired up now because you have 4 women, but you should have been fired up when it happened to the first woman. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the police are giving the runaround. We've been shorthanded on patrol and busy these last few days. Jeepers. Yeah, some records need a subpoena. She asked for a police record of police court. So, I don't know. Some records need a subpoena or court order. What is that? A writ to compel a document production? I don't know if that's called a writ of replevin or something, but whatever. It's go to the court to ask the court to force the police department's hand. Fair enough. That's not a huge deal. I mean, you go to the local magistrate and you pay your fee and get it done. Kansas losses the front pages of incident reports are public records. Okay, well, you know what? A lot of police departments are comprised of idiots. What do you want me to say? A lot of them are dumb. I cried. I felt like I submitted something to the police that was out of my hands. I didn't even have access to look at it anymore. You know, hell, I read this first time. I thought, you should probably film all your interactions with the police, even when you're reporting things. You just whip out your cell phone camera and record that stuff in high definition. Because when police know they're on camera, they will treat you much, much differently. When they know there's going to be a record of things, everything changes. And yes, the Supreme Court has said you may film the police as long as you're in an area that you are allowed to be in. So film your interactions. God, this video is going on a very long time. Okay, Jai refused to meet with us to discuss the investigation. Well, it doesn't sound like they have probable cause to make an arrest. Again, they would have had probable cause to make an arrest if you did it immediately. If you went that night and you said, I'm going to call the police. When the guy allegedly forced her into the back seat to continue the battery, you just say no. You say, take me home, or take me back to my car, or I'm calling the police. Or you call the police on your phone right then and there, and you fight him off. And okay, what's the worst that happens? Well, the worst that happens is he, ends your life. That's the worst that can happen. That's probably not going to happen. You fear, the more reasonable fear is he's going to commit a battery upon you. But again, you have to commit a battery upon him to leave marks. And if he leaves marks on you, you leave marks on him. It's not going to go well for him. And he knows this in the back of his mind. So you got to have some backbone. You got to be willing to hurt people. You got to be willing to hurt bad people to prevent the bad people from hurting other good people. Okay, so individual changed residence, their contact information, making it difficult to locate him. Well, you have all kinds of FBI computer services. So you guys, this Lawrence Police Department sounds like local yokels who don't give a damn. But in fair, okay, so she says, officer suggested Stradler secretly record a phone call with Nitz. That's not an unreasonable thing to tell her to do. You can totally record a phone call with this guy, set up a sting operation, get him to admit all kinds of stuff if you're clever. Why not do that? He might admit he sexually battered her, the officer wrote, and it would help affirm a crime was committed. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you came to the police years after the event allegedly occurred. Help them bust this guy. That might, if he admitted it on camera, on tape, you could get him. It didn't feel like my responsibility. Yes, it is your responsibility. You're the only person who can get him to admit that. No one else can do that. You're in a unique position. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. She had not heard in her years, this psychology professor, of asking victims contact their alleged offender. Yeah, it is normal. If that is the efficient way to get someone, that's fine. That is a completely reasonable thing. Anyway, it's her word against his word, and because you waited, there's no physical evidence. Okay, blah 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 blah. Campus ban, blah blah blah. Campus officials told he was banned from Lawrence campus for 3 years. He was already banned from the journalism school. Nitz has previously been employed by the university as a lecturer in the Department of Film. You have reportedly engaged in a series of predatory behavior over the last 5 years in which you targeted female students after meeting them on campus, signed by the intern provost. So during these 5 years, Styler reported Nitz in 2017. While Nitz was banned from the journals, he was free to go anywhere else, and he was hosted in the student union. This fall, he was reported again for predatory behavior against a female student in a different department. May 15 letter means Nitz cannot return to campus until 2022. Your pattern of conduct towards young women on campus demonstrates that your presence on campus creates an imminent threat of danger to our students. Once campus-wide ban was implemented, campus police were notified. Okay, so you're trespassed from the location. I don't know if that is constitutional, but you'd have to talk to your attorney about that. He's subject to citation for criminal trespass. Okay, so they notified you that you were trespassed from the property. A woman accusing him said they felt they'd been let down by the justice system. Well, you waited too long. Yeah, they can't prove a crime occurred 2 years after it occurred. The one way they could easily prove a crime occurred was if you called him up and you stung him. Got him to admit stupid things. Listen, criminals are dumb. They admit stupid things all the time. And it sounds like if this guy did the things he's alleged to have done, it sounds like he's a sociopath who probably doesn't know the things he did are really wrong. He's probably clever enough to avoid getting caught for a little while, but he might be dumb enough to admit them. You know, like he could say things on tape that, yeah, even though you were crying, I know you enjoyed it. Even though you were pushing me away, I know you enjoyed it. Okay, well, that's enough for a district attorney to have probable cause to make an arrest. You have a reasonable suspicion criminal activity is afoot, a crime was committed by this person. Yeah. If he said something stupid on the phone, yeah, you could make an arrest, and you could at least subject him to custodial interrogation. He's at a police department. You could talk to him. He might talk to you. It might not talk to you because he has the right to have an attorney present. And he has the right not to speak to the police. But at least you'll have an arrest on record. Other victims worry he will retaliate against them for speaking out. Well, you need to carry pepper spray and mace with you at all times. And you need to, at least when you're at home, you need to have a device that makes men and women equal. They come in many varieties. Some carry 6 pieces of, call them Liberty high-velocity lead. And some carry much, much more. So you need to have that device with you at home all the time. Depending on your state, you might be able to carry it in your purse. You might be able to carry it in a little concealable fanny pack. This little 5 or 6 Freedom device is the anti-battery device. It will stop the biggest, toughest man from hurting you. It uses kinetic energy, and it takes chemical energy, and it converts it into velocity. And that velocity increases molecular motion in the thing that it impacts. They're remarkably effective. They turn 100-pound women into equals. You can equal a pit bull. You can equal a pit bull on 2 legs or 4 legs with one of these magic devices. Made by, Colt or Smith & Wesson or Remington or SIG or Glock or Taurus, if you like South American devices. The cheapest device is probably available for like $150. Not very fancy, but for close-up work, they're remarkably effective in telling a man no thank you. Think of it as the no thank you device invented by, Colt or whoever. Anyway, this video was incredibly long. So let me leave you with this. Is what you will not be seeing him at a comic convention anywhere again. How does this guy get dates? Okay, this photo looks a little bit better. It doesn't look great, You saying this guy? This fat troll, long-haired, bearded, 5 head having troll gets dates with beautiful young women. What is going on? He must be unless you're driving an AMG, I don't quite understand how this guy is getting these women. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, everything I said here are merely allegations. They're not defamatory statements of fact. Everyone is entitled to due process and the Fifth, Sixth, and all the Constitution applies. So you are presumed innocent. Anyway, see you next episode.